Real Christianity is not merely a religion, it is a relationship with a person. It is an intimate love relationship with God. Through this relationship, God reveals His will and invites you to join Him where He is at work. Then you come to know God in a more intimate way by experiencing Him at work through your life.
Life is one great big adventure. It's full of highs and lows. It's full of valleys and mountains. You see, our life is full of these experiences. And if I ask you to plot all of the greatest and lowest experiences of your life on a map, on a timeline, highs being here, lows being here, what I guarantee that you would find is that it would not just be a linear path or a linear experiences, nothing, no highs nor lows. And I guarantee you that it wouldn't just be up and to the right, nothing but just good experiences that continue to build upon itself over time. I guarantee you it would probably look more like a heart rate monitor going up and down, a season of good and a season of bad. And it continues in that way, or like a terrain map. If you've ever seen one of those of the Appalachian Trail, you can see that you have this great big mountain to climb, and then you may climb for 2,000 feet, and then it drops back down into the valley. But then what you always love to see are those plateaus to where you're in a high season, you're in a great spot on the trail, and it's really just flat. You see, isn't it incredible that whenever we get to climbing those mountains, man, it is tough. Sometimes it's hard, but sometimes it's really exciting. And then to be living up there on the peak, and then to go down into the valleys may not seem too bad, but whenever you're there and you're in these dark pits and dark stages of our life, it is oftentimes very, very difficult. But what is not given to us, like the Appalachian terrain map, where you know where highs are going to be, where mountains you're going to have to climb and lows are going to be, our life is completely just based on the experiences that come. And these experiences, we do not know what they're going to look like. We do not know what the circumstances are going to be over the course of our life. If we knew every high and every low, man, that would be weird, wouldn't it? I don't even think that would be good, nor bad, really. It would just be weird. And we can see that God does not work in that way, obviously. We are not given a terrain map of what our life is going to look like, of all the high moments in our life, all the low moments in our life, because I guarantee you we would not respond in the appropriate way. But throughout all of our life, we've experienced moments of great joy and moments of great sorrow. We believe that God uses these circumstances, both good and bad, not only to communicate with us, but to build that relationship with Him, to reveal Himself to us. Now, what I found though, whenever I was looking through this, whenever we look at our circumstances, and you can look back at your map of your life, what you'll find is that your circumstances will really bring about three different responses to God. It'll bring about three different aspects of your relationship. So whenever things are going good, whenever things are going bad, I believe that there are three ways that you can respond. The first one is to drift away. You can, if life is maybe going good, you just begin to slowly become less in tune with who God is and where God is working, because you are so focused on just the good times and the good things that are happening in your life. And you just slowly begin to drift away from that relationship, slowly begin to drift away from God. Or I would say that maybe multiple hurts come in your life. That one moment was hard enough, but then you have the second one and the third one. And then before too long, the anger and the hurt and the pain just begins to build and slowly pulls you away from God. And then the other one, I would say that our busyness, that things, hectic week, time in and time out, hectic days will continue to have us drift away from God. And here's the thing, we never mean to drift. Based on our circumstances, based on what's happening in our life, we never mean to drift. Drifting just happens slowly over the course of time. If you're in a boat and you begin to drift away from shore, you may not notice it much. You say, oh, Yeah, you're 10, 15 feet away from shore, and all of a sudden you're maybe sitting and talking, and then it may look a little bit different and a little bit further back, but really there isn't a huge change. But it isn't over until over a large span of time that you realize just how far that you have drifted from where you were to where you are now. And you never chose it, technically. Technically, you did choose it every single day with the choices that you made, but really and truly, this is not something that you chose for your life. You did not choose to be far away from God. It's just the circumstances slowly over time pulled you away from God. Now, the complete opposite of that, one of the other ways that we can respond is to simply just drive away. Drive away from God as fast as you can. Put the thing in drive and say, I am out. See you later. I don't care about the relationship. I don't care about who you are. I am going in this direction. I am choosing to go in this direction. And I don't care what the consequences are, because what I'm believing right now is that whatever is going to happen to me from this experience is a whole lot better than what's happening to me right now. My current circumstance or my current situation. You see, this is so often happens whenever life is bad. Whenever we are going through great struggles, great trials, we will make the decision to just, you know what, God, you don't love me. You don't know what's best for me. So I'm going to go to whatever else I think that will bring me happiness, whatever will take care of me. But I know for a fact that it's not you. And so we drive away from God. We abandon our first love. We abandon the true love. And like I said, we choose this. We choose, ultimately, we choose to worship. We choose to live. We choose to give our life to another God, whatever it may be. But in those moments, our situations and our circumstances can drive us not to God, but away from God. And we are believing in that moment that whatever we are driving ourselves to will be way better than where we were with God. And this is heartbreaking. This is so challenging in every single one of our relationships. And I'm not saying that there won't be moments in time to where you question God and you just wonder, well, God, what are you doing? Or God, I prayed for this and you didn't answer it. And you can be angry and you can be upset. But we find that really our response should always land in this third way. And that's to draw towards God, to draw close to God. When life is good, we find gratitude at His feet. We find contentment. We find thanksgiving. We bring the joy and the peace that we have all to Him with His open arms and just a great big hug saying, thank you, Lord, for all that you have done and for all of the blessings that you have given me during this season. And then whenever life is bad, we draw to Him. And we say, God, we give Him the same big hug. Say, God, hold me, protect me, watch over me, be with me through this time. I'm going to cling to you because your word says that you will go before me, that you will go with me, that you are walking with me through this valley, through this hard time. So I'm going to cling to you. I'm going to just cling to your leg and I'm just going to hang on tight and just believe and trust that through this season, no matter how dark, no matter how bad the circumstances are, that you will see it through. In this one, we choose God. We choose to cling to God. We choose to run to God. We choose to drive to God, not away from God. And we aren't just aimlessly going through our life just based on our circumstances, having these emotions that will just allow us to just drift away from Him. But instead, we are drawing close to Him in both good and bad situations. Now, this is not as easy as just saying it, is it? But we are encouraged. No matter our circumstances, we believe that in all things, God is working and God is moving. And really, our big verse for this week sums up the story of Joseph's life, which is what we're going to be studying and discussing and talking about this week in our group content. But we see the culmination of Joseph's life in this verse in chapter 50, verse 20 of Genesis. It says, as for you, he's talking to his brothers. He's talking about the culmination of everything that has just happened to him. He's standing before his brothers, He's just saved this entire land from great drought and great pain and sorrow that would have come without food or water. But they did the appropriate things. Joseph was given a vision and a dream to store up for the next 7 years, for there'll be 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of drought. And we see this right here. He's standing before his brothers who, if we must remember, not only first buried him to try to kill him, but didn't want their blood on their hand or his blood on their hands. So they did the next best thing and they just sold him into slavery. And we can see all throughout Joseph's life, he had both highs and great lows. But through all of it, Joseph found this great revelation. He says, as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. God meant it for good. And isn't that just such a blessing? Isn't that our great hope? That right now, no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're going through, the enemy may be working, the devil may be working in your life, but we know that through all circumstances, both good and bad, whatever the enemy may meant for good, may meant for evil, God will turn it into good. So for this week, I pray that we can trust and we can obey, that no matter what God is doing right now in your life, you would draw near to Him and know that He is working all things out for not only your good, but the good of His kingdom and the good of those who love